The residents of a small village in Hokkaido, Japan, have taken to shutting themselves inside their homes at night. For the past couple of months, the bodies of residents have been turning up dead around the village, murdered and mutilated, some beyond recognition. While most of the gruesome discoveries were found in the forests and fields surrounding the village, a few unfortunate souls were discovered to have been killed in their own homes, with evidence of doors and windows being broken into. The scene of some of the murders so ghastly that even a few of the most toughened individuals found it hard to deal with. Because the murders were so brutal, with signs that the bodies had been feasted on, it was first assumed that the culprit was some kind of animal. However, word started to spread around the village that the thing responsible for the murders was actually not some ordinary animal, but a creature that could change shape. According to various eyewitnesses, the creature actually had the ability to take the shape of not only an animal, but a person as well. It was also said that it could shapeshift into other forms, both horrifying and unexplainable. Some villagers even claimed that the creature was a demon that could speak. In an effort to protect the residents and catch whatever was responsible for the murders, a group of men, armed with rifles, torches, and their hunting dogs, took to patrolling the village at night. But despite the patrols, the murders continued. The culprit remained a mystery. A small sliver of hope, however, began to spread among the village when a few weeks passed without any other report of a person being killed. Unfortunately, that hope was to be short-lived. On a particularly dark night, just hours after a patrol, a group of men heard a blood-curdling scream off in the distance. The men and their dogs ran towards the commotion, worried that somebody may be in mortal danger. Upon reaching the location, they stopped in their tracks and were horrified at what they saw. There, in the middle of the dirt road, lay the freshly killed and mutilated bodies of two individuals and their horse. "Whoever did this could still be around here, nearby," one of the men said, his voice trembling. The men tried their best to keep their composure as they approached the victims. While being wary of their surroundings, they investigated the bodies. The dogs barked up a storm, agitated about something. As one of the men illuminated one of the victims with his torch, the dead body suddenly shot up, standing in an unnatural way. The men jumped back and gasped at the frightening sight. The man's mutilated limbs hung loosely from his torso. His head also hung to one side, just barely connected to his neck. Before the men were able to do anything, the disfigured corpse quickly ran into the forest. "It's the demon," yells one of them. "Don't let it get away." The men and the dogs reluctantly gave chase. During the pursuit, right before their eyes, the mutilated corpse suddenly started to shapeshift into some sort of four-legged creature. The men were horrified at what they witnessed, but continued to chase the ungodly creature. Some fired their rifles at it, but it was too quick and evasive. Eventually, the men lost sight of the creature as it was able to gallop away into the darkness. Their dogs, however, were able to continue tracking it. Soon, however, the dogs disappeared into the darkness as well. The men tried their best to navigate the forest by following the sounds of their barking dogs, but to their dismay, the bark suddenly started diminishing one by one. They're soon replaced by the sounds of dogs yelping and crying out for help, with a growl accompanying the horrific sounds of flesh being torn apart. Eventually, there was nothing but silence. Some of the men screamed out in grave concern for their dogs, but they were only met with a bone-rattling roar that engulfed the forest. The group scattered. Some rushed towards the darkness, trying to find their dogs. Others flee towards the other direction, scared out of their minds. The forest was soon filled by the blood-curdling screams of the men. The creature, taking different unsightly forms, begins to pick them off one by one. The sound of rifles going off are heard throughout the forest, only to be followed by the growls of the creature. The men take turns screaming in agony as they are torn to pieces, dying horrible deaths. Pretty soon, all the screaming stops. The last remaining man darts his way through the forest, trying to flee for his life, but something he sees out of the corner of his eye causes him to stop. There, near a tree, he sees his dog curled up and whimpering. "Yoshi, are you okay, boy? Come here, boy, come here," the man asks his dog as he approaches. But something about the situation seems off to the man. It's at that moment, when his dog turns to look at him, that the man realizes the dog actually has the face of a human. The creature greets the man with a smile that stretches from ear to ear, with a mouth full of human teeth. The man screams in terror as he quickly runs away. The creature chases him, shape-shifting into another monstrous form in the process. While in pursuit, the creature speaks, "Are you okay, boy? Come here, boy. Come here," the creature says, mimicking the man's voice. The man, drenched in fear, continues to run as fast as he can, trying to escape, but the creature is right behind him, getting closer, shrieking. Suddenly, the man trips over a log, falling forward to the ground. As he gathers himself, he sees that the creature is just a few feet away. He looks up helplessly as the creature, in a form that he can't even describe, slowly walks towards him. The man is frozen in fear, but just as the creature is about to pounce on him, a poison arrow shoots through the air from a hunting trap that the creature had accidentally set off. The creature roars in pain as the arrow pierces its side. Realizing that this might be his only opportunity, the man conjures up whatever courage he has to stand up and aim his rifle at the beast. Just before the creature is able to recover, the man fires his rifle right at its chest and hits its target. The creature screams in pain. In the flash of an eye, it disappears into the darkness. The man doesn't waste a moment as he runs to make his escape. Without stopping to catch his breath, the man eventually makes his way back to the village. Still, in fear for his life, he quickly rushes into his house. But before he can even breathe a sigh of relief, he is met with the grisly sight of blood splattered across the inside of his home. And there, lying in the middle of the floor, he sees his wife's body, decapitated. "The demon was able to track my scent back to my house," the man thinks to himself. He screams in anguish, tears streaming down his face. Just as he's overcome with despair, he hears,
"Daddy?"
There, standing nearby, his young little daughter. The man quickly kneels down to hug her, relieved to know she's okay. But as he's busy trying his best to console his little daughter, she looks up over his shoulder. A look of terror washes across her face as she sees the headless body of what she thought was her mother standing up, and the same face of the human-faced dog taking form.